Test 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2 1 2. Oh, we're ready. Let's go.
Okay, so what even started the shoot with Savannah?
I think it's a conversation we had more than a couple years ago, like 3-4 years ago. You went to Europe and then you saw the collection, the campaign for You Love, yeah. And so we were like, oh, that's amazing. We should try to do something like that.
Yes.
You know, or like, you know, that was our inspiration.
And so thinking about how literally an image, because we send each other pictures, references all the time.
Right.
Thinking about how like anything can kind of make our brain just like go, and knowing that we have each other to kind of just like tag and say, hey, I have this, let's do this. Like, I know for me, it like pushes me to be super creative because I feel like I don't have a boundary.
Right.
Because I know you're gonna be at my side, if you will.
Right.
But like, what does that mean to you? Or like, even not just me in general. Like, I know you have a lot of creatives around you as well. Like, what does that mean, or what's the difference between having that and not having that?
I feel like at this point of my career, I get to work with people that are truly living their dream or are working towards something that they're very passionate about. So it's no longer something that we have to like, I don't know, like it's kind of like we're on the same ground, you know? And then when someone's pushing higher, the next person follows, and then the next person gets to the higher level, and then the other one you know what I mean? So even if someone gets off of the ground, we follow each other and we make the ground bigger in some ways.
That is so true.
So
I talked to some newer photographers and creatives, and they're in that beginning phase where they're kind of just like testing a little bit, not really sure what they're looking for, but like they know they're supposed to be getting stuff. And I always tell them, you have to also connect with creatives around you. But I've never been able to put words to it like you just did, which basically is you guys lift each other up.
Right. We're both trying to like come together from different angles and like kind of like create this like symphony.
Yeah.
You know?
It is like making music. Whenever so it's one thing whenever you're like pitching an idea and coming to an agreement on something, but then it's another thing whenever you're actually there and you're trying to make it work and you're trying to see like, okay, this was my idea, but is it coming out, or it doesn't make sense, or did you just add something to it that is making it even better, or even like kind of taking us to a new level of creativity that we didn't imagine. That's kind of the really cool part about working with you, is because it doesn't matter with what we had to begin with. You always have this X factor that's like, I never could have expected it, and when I see it, it's just like a blast of creativity.
Yeah, I feel the same way about you. And here's the other thing, you know, I feel like you often have to be in a safe place too, you know, where you can feel safe enough to know that if you think something outside the box, people are not going to look at you like you're crazy for like trying something out that it's probably out of scope, because you have a vision, but then you're like working on creating the vision better. You know, it can be a little bit outside the box, and not everybody's ready to take the leap of faith to like go outside of the box of their mood board, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And another thing is like, how do we get inspiration for a mood board but not do like the same thing as the mood board? Does that make sense?
Totally.
Because we are not here to copy other creatives. We're here to do our own version of what that feels like for us.
Yes, of like what part of that resonated with you. Let's think about that and let's create from that place, the true place that already lives in you. But whenever you saw this like reference, you kind of remembered it inside of you somewhere. You and I have had many conversations about 1, 2, 3, 4, 1234, what that means to you, and that's always resonated with me. And the second that you told me what that meant to you, I was like, I guess not only did I understand you a little bit better, but I always wanted to be able to make something of that. I love the concept of working with natural materials.
Yes.
And a human body, and really kind of mimicking, because that's what I heard in my head whenever you were explaining what 1234 is.
Right.
So can you explain what 1234 is?
Yeah, so 1234, 4 stages of life between people and plants. So, we focus on celebrating all those stages, from being born to growing and to reproducing and then dying, which I believe there's beauty in all the stages, Some of them are harder to deal with than others. However, how can we as a company help people navigate the meaning behind every stage of life? We're moving so fast, so we often don't have the time to really be grateful for the stages in life that we're in. I think that the stage of life that really resonates to me would be stage number 2, probably, and this shoe. It's like this blossoming moment, and I see that with the model and everything. Like, she's kind of blossoming in her youth, she's bringing her youth and her beauty, fearlessness to the stage. So that's part of the what comes across in the whole process,
Well, now I want to explore all of this. I'm like, what about these other stages?
Yes.
How can we make each stage resonate with a flower? And I think it goes even more to almost hear how you think. Because I see you work and I'm like, I don't freaking understand what is going on in your brain to be able to make this pure magic. I swear it's magic. And but hearing you explain these things, that's the little pieces that I get to look inside your brain for a split moment and still not understand how you see, but I understand why you see some of the things that you see. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
So I think that the closest inspiration for me would be, it's funny you say that, because I feel a lot of people feel the same way about the work, and it's done on purpose in some ways, you know what I mean? It's I want to flip things around and make you question things, because curiosity brings more attention to things, and I don't think that we have the right appreciation for nature. And so if you care to know things, you want to put more effort to find meaning behind it. And then there's also this heavy connection with emotion behind everything that we're putting together, and pride. We're really prideful of the things that we're touching and the things that we get to work with and the projects we get to do, all the things. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for diving in on this project.
That's just one of the things that we've done, and I feel like there's a lot more things that we haven't even done yet.
That's
so.